People will often point to his will as evidence of his lack of care, because famously his will only mentions his wife once, and the will is pages long, and it says, "And to my wife Anne I leave my second best bed." Doesn't sound very good, does it? He doesn't have to say anything about her physical needs, because the law gives her the right to remain in the marital home, and of course her eldest daughter is caring for her. He doesn't have to say anything about money, because the law automatically gives her 1/3 of the estate. So it's just this bed business. It sounds a bit of an insult, but it is not. Beds were luxury items. They were expensive. If you wanted to show off your wealth in those days, then you couldn't go and buy a Mercedes sports car, could you? Or a plasma screen TV. You commissioned a bed, the very best you could afford, with nice carving, nice drapes. It was referred to as the best bed, and it was placed in your best room, your parlour, so that all your guests could admire it. So they could sit round drinking your ale and admiring your beautiful bed. So they're status symbols. Best bed is a status symbol. Many were never slept in. The second best bed is the marital bed, the one that is significant to Anne. So in no way is that a slight to Anne. Shakespeare Birthplace Trust still owns that bed, and it's owned over at Anne Hathaway's family home, so you can actually see it. Right, so where's the house gone? Well, in the 18th century, it was owned by a gentleman called Reverend Gastrell and his wife, who had no interest in Shakespeare. But other people are starting to come here. They're going to see the birthplace. They're coming along here and they're peering through their windows. Even worse, they're breaking into the garden to take cuttings from the mulberry tree, which was said to have been planted by William Shakespeare. Well, I can understand the couple didn't like this, but I think they went over the top. They chopped down the mulberry tree and then knocked down the house. Well, the people of Stratford were absolutely furious. So they ran the Reverend Gastrell and his wife out of town, making it quite clear that neither they nor any of their descendants would ever be allowed back here again. Ever. I didn't check names before we started. The mulberry tree was sold to the town carpenter, who, being an enterprising fellow, started to carve Shakespeare souvenirs. He carved so many Shakespeare souvenirs, that must have been the biggest mulberry tree on record. I bet if you go on eBay, you can probably still buy some. A couple of years ago, there was an archaeological dig here. We now know this site goes right back to Neolithic. The most significant find, as far as the town is concerned, was the footprint of the original medieval building and Shakespeare's additions to it. So a couple of years ago this garden was laid out and the footprint of the building is marked in brass plaques on the ground. So you can visit this and get a sense of the size of the building that was Shakespeare's.
You said that a couple of weeks before he died he changed his will?
Yes. He cut somebody out of his will. And I will tell you about him when we get to the building where he lived.
All right. The suspense.
Somebody certainly displeased him and cut him out of his will. Now this lovely chapel that we're standing outside of, some of you may be able to see down that end, the brickwork is completely different. It's much older. The Guild of the Holy Cross was established in the 12th century, and that bottom bit was the original chapel. Just that little bit there was the original chapel with a hospital next to it. But in the 1400s, it was expanded to this size, paid for by Hugh Clopton again. So we'll go into the chapel.
Is this attached to the...
Yes. This chapel is built to the member of the Guild of the Holy Trinity is for 8 months.
Thank you. No.
If other visitors come in, we're not in there. Right, well, if you look around, you can see everything. Medieval walls, of course, again, God, the Bible, so that the priests will be helped as quickly as we Bible themselves back. So, point to the stories are pretty much the same. Lead a good life, because you are all going to die, and you want to get through hell as quickly as possible and end up in heaven. So this one here is known as doom. It is showing you the people being pushed towards the mountain, and they would have been, but they've now faded because all of the tortures which you would go through down there. Then people would have masses in the church, pray for your soul to get you to purgatory as quickly as possible. And on that side, there are the happy people. They pay for all their sins. They're in their coffins, rising up to the pearly gates. There you can see St. Peter there. Looks like a Mediterranean holiday. Honestly, well worth the journey. This is the largest surviving dune in the world. Years ago, it was recognised just how important all the medieval are in this church. They're behind these panels as well. And we got a lottery funding to preserve as much as we could. So this was cleaned up and stabilised. And the one over there in the corner, which again is about death, you have the body lying there being eaten by the worms. Little mottos and prayers there. That one is extremely. I'm afraid we then ran out of money, so we haven't been able to do anything about the ones behind here. Because they were, you can see, most of them have gone because they were exposed to the light and really gone. Along here we've got what's known as the Dance of Death, because there's a little picture there. It's skeletons dancing along with people dressed to indicate their status in line with their trade. So the message is clear. It doesn't matter how important you think you are, you will go and see. So hopefully we will actually be able to get those things restored. Anybody have any questions? If you are very interested in medieval, I do urge you to come back. There are usually guides in here who can give you a lot of information. And obviously I don't have time to do that. Okay, we'll have a quick look at the gruesome one in the corner, and then we will head down. This is used as a church, and any denomination can use it.
Oh, thank you. You have £5. You have £5 for one of these guides.
Yes. I don't know where they're going.
No, I did not get one. Thank you.